So while I'm on fire and I've already uploaded a video, I want to make this because I don't know. I just feel compelled to tell people, I suppose. I want. We all need something to believe in, and if what I'm about to tell you helps you achieve that, fantastic. If it doesn't convince you, no problem. But God wants me to tell people. I just feel that very strongly. And that's a feeling I can't ignore. So, here goes. A little before a year ago, the exact date is October 23rd, I was in a very, very, very bad place in my life. And depression had been something that had followed me my whole life. But that year, I caused myself so many issues. I crashed a car. I got in a bunch of legal trouble. I messed myself up physically. My dreams were going nowhere. Businesses I had tried to start were just not going anywhere. I was messing around with the wrong girl. I was inviting so many problems into my own life. And I reached a point where I couldn't deal with it. I could deal with it. I was pretty hell-bent on not dealing with it, I would say. So, I put a gun to my own head. I was drinking. I was abusing things. And I was just done with it, man. I was ready to go. I was ready to check out of this life. So, gun to my head. Sitting there. About to pull the trigger. And I was remembering something my grandmother had told me. She had once tried to kill herself. She stood up on the balcony of her third floor apartment and said, "God, if you're real, stop me." So she gets up on the balcony, says that, and a female deer comes out of across the courtyard that she was overlooking and just sits under the balcony and looks up at her for hours. Just sits there. So she gets off the balcony, doesn't do it, which I'm thankful for. I mean, I haven't always been the best grandson, but I love my grandma. Anyway, I was thinking that as I'm sitting there. And I said, "God, if you're real, stop me." Pulled the trigger. The hammer. It was a hammer-fired Beretta 92FS. The hammer falls. Hits the firing pin. I hear that sharp metal on metal. And the gun just doesn't go off. So I sit there for what felt like ever. I lower it. I pat myself to be like, did that not happen or not? And it didn't. So I rack the slide, I take the bullet out. The primer is dented, and it just didn't go off. That gun always goes off. Those bullets, I don't buy cheap bullets. They always go off. The odds of that happening are so small. And it's crazy. That convinced me. That convinced me totally. I would later have other spiritual experiences, but it proved to me that God's not done with me yet. And now I'm able to reframe a lot of the struggles I've had as something for my growth. That story, I've been able to help other people not kill themselves with it. I know it has saved at least 2 lives. And there were times I didn't know why. There were times where I wish it had gone off and had just been done with this life. But God's not done with me, I guess. I don't know what he wants me to do yet. I'm trying to figure it out. I started going to church. I found an amazing church. I've been blessed to meet a lot of very spiritually intelligent and well-read people since then who have helped or put up with me, depending on who they are. They've watched me rise and fall a dozen times since then. And it changed my life. It changed everything. And I want other people to feel that. I want them to know. God really does love each and every one of us, even when we don't love ourselves. And he is real. I mean, there are so many ways to prove it to yourself, too. What are the odds of any of this existing, of any of this happening, of any of it happening perfectly? The Bible predicted Jesus in advance. Things that were written before he was born. People who hated Jesus have written about him. About things that he did that are supernatural, which they'd have no reason to do. It's one thing if people who like someone and want something to happen write about it, but if someone who hates someone and doesn't believe in what they're doing, but they see it and they have to write about it, it's really pretty crazy stuff. It's really pretty heavy stuff, but it's a good thing because you find some purpose through that. And I wish that for anyone who sees this. You can totally choose to ignore it. You have free will. And I don't force anything on anybody. That's for sure. But if you ever get in that dark, lonely, way, way, way down place, consider searching there. It couldn't hurt. You have nothing to lose. When you reach that point, nothing to lose. It's an interesting place to be. So yeah, just wanted to share that. If it impacts even one person, then it was all worth it. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And stay blessed.